Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reacted to a Headlines Today report on an Indian origin cartoonist Ramesh Chandra wanting to meet Narendra Modi at the Sydney Olympic Park event. Reacting to a tweet posted by TV Today managing editor Rahul, Prime Minister Narendra Modi replied, saying that have personally spoken to the organisers so that Ramesh ji can bless the program in Sydney. We have Rahul joining us on the phone line for more on the story. Rahul, have you been able to convey the good news to Ramesh? We'll get Rahul on the phone line in a short while from now, but Rahul had in fact tweeted saying that the Indian origin cartoonist wanted to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the Prime Minister has responded to that tweet by the TV Today managing editor Rahul, saying that have personally spoken to the organisers so that Ramesh ji can bless the program in Sydney. Rahul had tweeted highlighting the fact that the cartoonist suffers from cancer but was keen to meet the Prime Minister. Narendra Modi has responded to that tweet by Rahul, saying that he has personally spoken to the organisers so that Ramesh Chandra can in fact bless the program which will be held in Sydney. We'll be getting in the TV Today managing editor Rahul on the phone line in a short while from now, but this has really been a direct connect now through him on Twitter. Prime Minister Narendra Modi responding to that tweet saying that the cartoonist who suffers from cancer was keen to meet the Prime Minister, and Narendra Modi has in fact responded to that tweet saying that he has taken note of it and that he will personally speak to the organisers. We have Rahul on the line with us. Rahul, have you been able to convey the good news to Ramesh?
Well, this has come as a pleasant surprise.
As a pleasant surprise, because yesterday when we caught up with cartoonist Ramesh Chandra, he was in tears. His eyes were welling up, and he said that if there was any possibility at all of him to get an opportunity to spend time with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it would be the happiest moment of his life. And that's when we put that tweet out. And just the kind of person that Narendra Modi is, either he himself or someone in his team, he says that he saw the tweet himself, saw that tweet and responded to it. We're just trying to get hold, because we were in the middle of a live setup. We were just lining up for center stage tonight. We were catching up with members of the Indian Australian business community here, talking to them about the expectations they have. We're relaying this information back to Ramesh Chandra, and he's absolutely delighted. He's a very old man, suffers from cancer, and says that he wasn't able to go, he wouldn't be able to go to the Sydney Olympic Park because he had no one to take him there. But now we're told that the organisers will get a volunteer to go pick Ramesh Chandra up, and he stays in a far off suburb, about an hour and a half from the Olympic Park arena, where Modi will be speaking come Monday, and someone's going to be going across and picking him up and bringing him, which is really, this is not the first time that Prime Minister Modi has done something like this. He's done it previously as well. But it just shows how plugged in he is to the information cycle. The fact that he says he wants to engage, he wants to communicate is something which is for real, because he's looking at what people are saying, he's looking at the reactions out there, he's responding to them. And this really, for Ramesh Chandra, especially because he has, I met a lot of these old people yesterday, and we're going to play out one of those stories on our broadcast tonight at 10 o'clock on Centre Stage, because they come here to look up their children, they have no one back home, and because the children, both the husband and the wife, are working through the day, these old people don't have much company, so they come together at community centres, they try and spend time with each other, with others in their age group, but apart from that, they really have no one to hang out with, to bond with. And in that context, when the Prime Minister responds, and if at all, one is for him to be at the Sydney Olympic Park. The second stage, if we can just push Ramesh's case just a little bit more, is for him to actually get an opportunity to meet the Prime Minister. That would be truly very big. And now just see what the Prime Minister has done. By this, everyone's calling us, trying to find out about what happened, who is this person. There will be so much awareness being created. Just that small gesture will go down so well amongst the Indian community here in Australia, and just show how much the Prime Minister is prepared to go just that little bit extra to make a special moment, to create a special moment for someone who looks up to him with great admiration.
Absolutely. And your tweet, Rahul, was crucial to establish that connection. Last time we spoke, Prime Minister Modi was at the Queensland University. Bring us up to speed what's happened since.
Well, we had gone, there was this one person, we'd gone to a community center, and we were told that this one person will be joining us. He's made a series of cartoons to mark which essentially chronicle and profile the life and times of the Prime Minister, the challenges that India faced. That's where his cartoon starts from, how the Congress gets thrown out, then the fact that Prime Minister comes in, he stamps his authority on India, how he's blowing away competition, and then how he becomes an international statesperson, how he's looking east and trying to pull countries together, shaping a new course for India's foreign policy. Then it talks about his problems in terms. So it's a very interesting series, and I hope we can play that out because that report is ready. So I'm sure our producers can pull it out of our systems and play it out for our viewers once again, so they get a chance to see who Ramesh Chandra is, understand his story, and that's where he in fact makes that plea to the Prime Minister, saying that he'd love nothing better than for an opportunity to spend some time. So that's really where it started from, because this one person wasn't able to come to the community center, but the volunteers and the organizers there said it would mean a lot to him if we could go across and spend time with him, because he was too old, too frail, since he was suffering from cancer, to be able to come himself. That's when we made the effort of going, spending time with him, meeting him, capturing his story, and now this is really turning out to be a very, very special Monday for him, because he really meant it with all intensity when he said that it would be the highlight of his life, he said, if he could somehow greet the man who's India's Prime Minister. He says he's been following Prime Ministers since the time of Indira Gandhi, and no one has inspired the kind of hope that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has, at least in him, and therefore it would really mean a lot for him when he gets to meet the Prime Minister come Monday.
Rahul, we have pulled out that particular news story that you're talking about that you had filed. Let's play that out. Rahul Kanwal catching up with Ramesh Chandra. Well, the NRI community is definitely in high spirits. Everyone looking to welcome the Indian Prime Minister in their own special way, and some of them are standing by with TVTN Managing Editor Rahul Kanwal.
We are here by the Brisbane River, and we've got with us a whole bunch of top businessmen, members of the India-Australia Business Council, also top academics who are tracking the India-Australia relationship very closely. The Prime Minister has arrived in Brisbane. What is on his agenda, and what can people expect both Tony Abbott and Narendra Modi to achieve over the next 72 hours? That's our focus. Let me start by introducing our guests. First and foremost, Jasbir Singh. He's with Wollongong Coal, one of the big coal companies out of India, working very closely here in Australia. Also with us is Binod Singh. He's with the Australia-India Business Council, the gentleman in the grey coat. Then there is Randeep Agarwal, again with the Australia-India Business Council. Gautam Adani is here in Brisbane, as also several other businessmen, looking at trying to use Australian natural resources in the best manner possible, so that Australia has the resources, India has the demand. What can they do together? And what do these people expect from the Prime Minister? Something that we'll talk about. Also with us is Ashutosh Mishra. He's a PhD and a research fellow at Griffith University. Works very closely on India-Pakistan, also on global terrorism. Now with lots of people, some people from Australia joining the ISIS. It's a big threat suddenly like never before. Then there's Dr. Deepu Sebastian. He's the academic director, study group at Griffith University. Lots of Indian students all across Australia coming from India to study over here. And finally, there's Shyam Das. He is with the Global Organization for People of Indian Origin. And let me start with Jasbir Singh on the key expectations from a business perspective, because this visit is big on business, and people would like to know, as someone who tries to do business here in Australia with an Indian perspective, what would you like to see emerge at the end of this meeting between Tony Abbott and the Indian Prime Minister, sir?
I will say that this is a visit which was long due. Indian Prime Minister is visiting after 28 years in such an important country. You can take it only one commodity, coking coal. India imports roughly 80-85% of its coking coal requirement, and coking coal is an important thing for steel. When we have lot of emphasis in presently as well as in future for infrastructure, the expansion into steel is an important parameters, and for that coking coal will be required. And India imports 85% of its coking coal requirement, and of that 85%, 90% comes from Australia. So only for one commodity, Australia is a key thing for India. And also now Australia itself has also opened its door for uranium. I will say that this relationship has to now race. This I'm saying for last many days. Race means resource, agriculture, cricket and education are the 4 key parameters besides tourism and other things which will be the key focus areas, and these countries both in bilateral relationship has to race.
And Vinod Singh, Australia has always been rich on natural resources, and India doesn't have any confrontation or any conflict issues with Australia, unlike say a China or a Pakistan. What's been holding back this relationship so far, and what would you like to see Modi and Abbott do to be able to race, as we just heard our first speaker say?
I think the energy is what India requires, and India requires energy in abundance in the future years. So far, what imports are being made to India from Australia is pertaining to coking coal, not so much of thermal coal. But in tomorrow's world, tomorrow's situation, India will require a lot of thermal coal as well. And we are seeing expansion in India happening. Right now it's 5.5%, but we expect India to grow at least 7.5, 8.5% in that range. And that's Mr. Modi's vision is as well. So for giving that kind of support and that fillip, we need a lot of exports to happen from Australia. And Australia is in a very unique position in terms of logistics, in terms of expertise, in terms of resource reserves, and it can supply to India for a long time. So,
no, but I'm not able to understand. Let me put that question to Randeep Agarwal. These are known attributes. The fact that Australia is immensely mineral rich, the fact that India has this huge demand which is not being met because of all the regulatory problems back home with coal, for example. What has been holding back the relationship so far? On a concrete basis, what would you like to see the Prime Minister do?
Yeah, so fundamentally, Rahul, it's about recognizing each other's strength. I think that's what has been lacking. So let me talk about strengths. So Australia has strength in mining and minerals. Australia has strength in gas and LNG. And Australia has strength in solar thermal power. We have gained a lot of experience and knowledge over the years. So we need to learn from Australia and engage with that. Now, India's strength, for instance, we talk about Make in India. We have a lot of talent and a lot of capacity to actually help Australia to use high quality and low cost products for the mining companies here in Australia. So that's the side of
Are Australian companies at all engaged or plugged into Prime Minister Modi's appeal for coming and making in India?
Yeah, it's the starting point for Australia. Australia is not yet engaged, but that's the opportunity Australia has.
Okay.
So when two prime ministers meet, it has to be at the same level. We have to say the free trade agreement, and we have to talk about recognizing each other's strength. So that's the key point for me.
Okay.
Yes, sorry. And the third point is on in terms of the needs at this time, engaging with Australia and India. If we look at mining and resources sector and the associated infrastructure sector, India needs a lot of skills and training. So that's an area, very big area for India to engage with in Australia. We are talking of vocational education and training required for 500 million young people of India.